Welcome back to Stu Studio, conservative takes on music. America's 250th birthday is right around the corner, and at the start of Trump's presidency, he announced that there would be a huge nationwide state fair spanning every state and going on for over a year. That obviously hasn't happened. It's now been reduced to a 16-day event starting in late June going through mid-July. And so far, the only location for festivities is Washington, D.C., and specifically the National Mall. Congress has been in charge of planning and facilitating the event, calling it America 250. It's supposed to have events celebrating the history, the culture, and the legacy of America, with a state fair-style celebration and many musical acts performing. But in the past week, it seems like almost all the musical acts have dropped out. The artists that have dropped out include Milli Vanilli, Martina McBride, the Commodores, and Bret Michaels. They've cited confusion about the event, and Bret even said that he doesn't think that his crew is safe. Martina McBride said that she thought this was going to be a nonpartisan celebration of America, rather than a celebration of Trump himself and his big ego. A lot of this has to do with the fact that Trump launched his own parallel event called Freedom 250, confusing a lot of the artists and a lot of the backers. That was Trump's first big mistake. He couldn't just let this be a birthday party for America. He had to wedge himself into it. The U.S. has previously had big birthday parties before, including a 100th birthday party right after the Civil War. People that were fighting each other and each other's brothers and fathers and neighbors got together to celebrate just a couple years later. And the 200th birthday party in the 70s, right after the Vietnam War, during the sexual revolution, when protesting was becoming America's next great pastime. So we could celebrate back then during two of the greatest divides in American history, but we can't seem to get it together right now. And instead of Trump reassuring the artists that it was actually going to be a celebration of America rather than himself, he doubled down and started calling them names. Says, I understand artists are getting the yips having to do with their performance on Wednesday, so I'm thinking about bringing the number one attraction anywhere in the world, the man who gets much larger audiences than Elvis in his prime, and he does so without a guitar, the man who loves our country more than anyone else, and the man who some say is the greatest president in history, the GOAT, Donald J. Trump, to take place of these highly paid, third-rate artists and give a major speech rallying the country forward like I have done ever since being president. That was all one sentence. So it's not like we expected Trump to show any humility, but maybe at a celebration this important, he could try making it a little bit less about himself, just in hopes of saving the event, but he is clearly not doing that. Even saying that there shouldn't be any music, he should just give one long speech. He says, I don't want so-called artists that get paid far too much money who aren't happy. I only want to be surrounded by happy people, smart people, successful people, and people who know how to win. So, by copy of this truth, I am ordering my representatives to look at the feasibility of doing an America is Back rally on Wednesday, Washington, D.C., same time, same location. Only great patriots invited. It will be a wild and beautiful celebration of America. President Donald J. Trump. And even with that, he couldn't leave it alone. Later in the day, he sent out another truth post. Says, we should have a giant Make America Great Again rally for 250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear, whose music is boring, and yet who do nothing but complain. Cancel it just like I canceled my involvement with the failing and unsafe to be in Kennedy Center because a highly conflicted, crooked federal judge said that I should not be allowed to spend my time and money in order to make the center great again, actually far greater than it ever was before. Again, that's all one sentence. There are two artists who are presumed to be performing. That would be Vanilla Ice and Flo Rida. Vanilla Ice has actually come out enthusiastically saying that he will perform, he wants to perform, but everyone is just assuming that Flo Rida is going to because he hasn't come out publicly and said that he's canceling. Vanilla Ice's biggest hits are obviously Ice Ice Baby, a ripoff of Queen, and the Ninja Turtle rap. I think he's most recently relevant for headlining the second to last night of the Gathering of the Juggalos every year, and also being on reality TV. So Vanilla Ice and Flo Rida. Sounds like the worst concert. And one solution has been proposed by Tim Burchett from Tennessee. He says we should get John Rich to headline the event and bring a bunch of his buddies and bands from Nashville to perform. Maybe even get Kid Rock in there. Obviously, we can't have Kid Rock headlining the event. He did a great job for the Turning Point halftime show for the Super Bowl, but that's as fresh as he's ever going to get. Unless he wants to throw another verse into a Cody Johnson song, I don't think anyone wants to hear his new material. And you can only watch a 60-year-old man jump around stage singing Bow It Da Ba so many times. But I think Tim Burchett is onto something. He says we would just have to pay for people's airfare, like probably wouldn't even have to pay them to play the event. They would be stoked about the exposure, which I know is a dirty word in the industry. But in my time running sound on Broadway in Nashville, I probably ran sound for over 100 bands. And I could only name one or two that would turn down an opportunity to play at America's 250th birthday party, even if Trump had his name on it. And who says this birthday party has to be a celebration of people who are already famous? Why can't it be a showcase of the undiscovered, unknown talent that we have strewn throughout the country? That would be a much better representation of who we are. And it would demonstrate that even the unknown artists in America are packed with talent and dedication and patriotism. I've heard original songs on Broadway in Nashville that you will never hear on the radio, but that blow the radio hits out of the water. I can't name everyone here right now, but go check out artists like Martin McDaniel, Mac Watts, M. Dunton, Carlton Anderson, and Ian Munsick, all of whom are writing and performing amazing songs and would jump at this opportunity. And this ties back to my episode from last week. Are we just afraid to celebrate real American music and real American musicians? The best way to showcase and show off America and American music is to dig for talent and merit rather than stardom. And I actually do trust someone like John Rich to search the country, to dig for the good artist, and to build a great lineup. So Trump still has a chance to save this event, but we all know that he won't because he's too focused on his ego and his name and getting jabs in, rather than celebrating Americans and the real American dream. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Stu Studio, and remember, Jesus loves you.